What's up, folks? Welcome back to the channel and my content for today's mobility work. We're going to be going over some really quick and easy foot ankle work to help improve your squatting or your pistoling, which is just a further expression of the squat. But something that we understand is that as we are going through a squat, we need some capacity to both rotate through the ankle and to bend, to flex through the ankle. So if I have really tight range of motion, so let's say that my knees are basically incapable of going forward, as I go down into my squat and my knees have to travel forward, the heels are going to come with me. And what we often see in people when they're squatting is that, we typically provide the standard of keep your feet flat on the ground, but that's a useless cue if your ankles are so stiff you can't keep your heels on the ground. Because what's going to happen is that in order to keep your feet flat, you have to compensate by driving your hips further forward, because that drives your torso forward and that keeps you balanced. This provides a counterbalance. So now the squatting becomes here. And then we say, okay, what if we force your body to be more upright? What happens? Like, I'm going to fall back or my heels have to come up. And then we say, okay, let your heels come up, balance on the balls of your feet and squat. And typically what we see happen is that people can squat just fine. Their knees are fine. Their hips are fine. Oftentimes, in my experience, even with like obese individuals, technically their hip rotation is even fine. And they're usually just kind of obstructed a bit by the sheer mass of like their belly and their thigh. But when we really isolate the range of motion, it's oftentimes fine. All that's really lacking is the ankle range of motion. So they're so stiff and tight, they can't really function as a human being, but then we get them able to rotate appropriately and able to get some good flexion in their ankles, and suddenly they can go flat on the floor, which gives you a broader base of support. You can squat with more power, so you can develop a lot more strength and have a lot more performance. It also makes things like running and jumping a lot safer because you can absorb impact and stress through the feet so much more effectively. When you have tight ankles, you are a weaker human being. So all you need, we're going to do 2 drills. We're just going to show them really quickly. You need a massage ball, not a foam roller. You cannot use a foam roller for this, and you cannot use other balls like a tennis ball or a lacrosse ball. They'll work if that's literally all you have, but invest a tenner into a good quality set of massage balls. Either Yoga Tune-Up or AcuPoint are going to be your favorites. And also a resistance band, typically the ones that are about 1 inch wide, and something that is so stable and anchored to the floor that no matter how much you pull it, it's not going to budge at all. So do not use like the kitchen table leg or something silly like that. But really simple, guys. We're going to take the ball, 2 minutes per foot. I want to spend rolling underneath the ball of my foot and underneath my arch. How am I going to move? Every direction, up, down, side to side. The only real rules on this is that you're going slowly and you're applying enough pressure. How much is enough? I will tell you how much. Not enough to create pain. At worst, this is uncomfortable. So if you're doing this and you're like, oh, that hurts, it's not the activity itself that is inherently hurting you. You are applying too much pressure. Lighten up. You have full control over your leg in this position. And I'm so serious about this, guys. Take it easier on yourselves. Too many of you are still looking at foam rollers and massage balls and being like, oh, those are torture devices. They are not torture devices. You are torturing yourself with them. Be gentle. That's so important. So I'm going to spend 2 minutes. So I actually have a timer on my watch. I'm not just making up 2 minutes, which actually becomes like 15 seconds. 2 minutes, nice and slow. Look at how slowly my foot is moving. It is slow. Imagine yourself as being like a sloth. You're going very slowly. The faster you go with this, the less effective it is. All right? And you want to do that with both feet. However, I'm going to tell you, especially the first time you do this, if you really want to see the difference, right? So you always want to test out your squat at the very start of it. Roll out 1 foot and only the 1 foot. So let's say start off with your right foot, and then, probably should have moved this barbell, whatever. You probably want to make sure you have shoes on, and I'm not going to do this fully just because of space and camera angles, but I want to have this wrapped up around my ankle, right above the actual ankle at the very bottom of my shin. So that should be fine. And all I'm going to do here, guys, is, and this is why you need shoes on, because this is pulling my socks. I want to be on a floor that gives me traction, My foot is planted and I'm going to take 30 seconds, 2 minutes for the whole process, but 30 seconds per direction of just simply moving my knee around in as big a circles as I can. And same thing with the ball, you're going nice and slow. So I would spend 30 seconds going in that direction, 30 seconds having it pull from one side, 30 seconds pulling from the back, and this is riding up my ankle. Ideally, it's a little bit more level, and then 30 seconds. So you're getting 30 seconds on each of the 4 sides, right? So that would be 2 minutes total. So you've done 2 minutes foot massage, 2 minutes banded distraction or banded stretching on the ankle, and then what you would do is then go into your squat and be like, whoa, I suddenly feel like I have all this range of motion. And it's like this whole leg feels a lot looser, feels lighter, feels more flexible, feels stronger. This side suddenly feels really tight and really heavy. And so you can kind of see, if you notice this effect, it's like, okay, this actually made a change in my physiology. I need to be doing this until this new range of motion becomes normal. If you don't feel any difference at all, try it a few more times, like either later that day or a few more times later in the week, see if there is a change. If not, drop it. Move on to another set of mobility drills. Keep improving your squat, guys.